Hello, everyone, and welcome to Boston Bowling. I'm your host, Gabby Hurlbut. I hope everyone's having a great week, great start to the summer now that summer is officially here. The first day of summer just happened. So hope everyone has some great plans for this summer and exciting things to do. And we're almost halfway through baseball season, almost at that all-important halfway mark. So that's pretty exciting, too. So looking forward to a lot of things coming up over the next couple months. And I'm pleased to introduce my guest that I have with me today. He does very, very good Red Sox coverage for WEEI's website, doing a lot of Red Sox articles, and I love his work. So Rob Bradford, how are you doing?
Gabby, it's an honor and a privilege to be with you today. So I'm doing great. It's exciting time of year. Listen, I mean, I could talk about this stuff. I could talk about, it's great. It's a great time to talk about any of this stuff.
It is awesome. This is always a fun time of the year, especially for sports. So it's just, there's just a lot to look forward to. And we're going to get into a lot of, everything. But first, before we kind of dive into that, can you just give people a little bit of a brief overview on how you got involved in working in sports?
Oh, man. It's a long story. I didn't take the normal route, I guess, which is, I guess, a good lesson for people because there's no one way to do it. It's not like just, hey, go to Northwestern and get your degree and get your master's degree and get a job. I mean, that happens, and I get it. I went to Springfield College. I got out of Springfield College. I freelanced for some newspapers. Did some freelancing for a long time. I really didn't even have my first full-time job until I was 29. And I was a sports editor of the Gloucester Times. And then I went to the Lowell Sun for 5 years, worked with some great guys like Jeff Goodman, Chris Price, Matt Kalman. And then then the first full-time occasion where I covered the Red Sox was at the Lawrence Eagle-Tribune. Now, when I was at the Lowell Sun, I wrote a book, which helped. Called Chasing Steinbrenner. I followed around Theo Epstein his first year, and that helped. And I would, instead of just sitting around and I guess saying answering field hockey calls, I wanted to do something. And you talk about just moving forward, and I guess that's what I did at the time. And like I said, then I covered the Red Sox at the Eagle Tribune, and I went from there to the Boston Herald, which I thought was my dream job, covering the Red Sox for the Herald, and then 2008, EEI wanted to build up their website. I was on EEI, and 13 years, almost 13 years later, there you go. A lot has changed, though, Gabby. A lot has changed, and so the advice that I would give to people: forget about 20 years ago, forget about 10 years ago, forget about 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. This stuff is changing so much. And specifically, like how we cover baseball, how we cover the Red Sox, how we cover how we work with social media, everything. And you probably see it. I mean, you probably see it like every single. The pandemic changed a lot of things, Gabby. So that's my long-winded way of saying yes. I started at Springfield College and I landed on this awesome podcast. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a great story. And I feel like it's cool to hear people's journey and how they got into the sports industry, because everybody's stories are so much different. And it really shows that there's no just one way to do it. And there's multiple ways to break in and just, utilize different resources to get into the industry. So it's always interesting when I talk to people and just hear how they got into it. But you're right. I mean, the industry is evolving and changing in so many different ways. And I feel like, especially with social media now, it's just a lot of people are getting their information on things now through social media. So that's just becoming a really important factor in how people cover sports now.
Yeah. And it's obviously, you talk about Twitter Twitter started, and this must seem like forever ago for you, but Twitter wasn't even a thing until let's say 2008, something like that. And then, obviously and I remember a lot of people at our radio station, other places, and they were like, I'm not doing that Twitter thing. I'm not doing that. And all the way up until about, 2012. and because of it, they're really far behind. I mean, you have to do everything you can. And I think that the biggest thing, Gabby, is that that hasn't changed from when I started to the middle of my career. It's just separating yourself, right? I mean, you're doing it with this, separating yourself with social media, separating yourself with your reporting. There's podcasts. Like, you just have to find a way to separate yourself, because there's more people than ever who want to have a voice and have some semblance of voice. So, yeah, I mean, that's the best way or best advice I could give anybody.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the biggest reasons I started the podcast in the first place, was just to kind of have a way to just continue to practice my skills and have a way to help me stand out among other people, and just kind of taking that extra step to help with my career and everything. And I'm really glad that I started the show, because it's been a lot of fun. And I also feel like I've learned a lot so far from doing it. And I think I'm hoping that it just kind of helps me to grow and just leads me other directions as well.
Well, Gabby, here's a reality, right? We're sitting here, like, I'm sure you've done great work, and you're gonna continue to do great work. But I know your work. I know you a lot better because of this, and because you reached out, and because we're talking, than I would otherwise. And and that's important. It's not like, the people who think, and this goes to reporting too, anything you write, it's not like you just write a story and say, hey, everybody, or do a podcast. Hey, everybody, come listen. It's awesome. Even honestly, I don't know how much you listen to sports radio, but you can't just do a 4-hour sports radio show and say, hey, did you hear me at 12:15? I had a really good point. No, I mean, you have to basically take whatever you do and smack people in the face with it. And, I did a story yesterday on I talked to Rich Hill, and he talked about he almost signed with the Red Sox and wanted to go to the Red Sox at some point. Okay, great. I have whatever it is, 65,000 Twitter followers, but it can't even be I'm doing the story and I'm tweeting it out and I'm stepping back and like, all right, everybody, come give me praise for talking. No.
Yeah.
You can't do it. I mean, you can't be shy about this stuff. So, it's much like you're getting used to it. I'm getting used to it. Everyone I work with and compete against is getting used to it. It's an exciting time, but it's daunting, man. It's daunting.
It is. Yeah, it definitely can be. And it's just everything's going to continue to evolve and change. So just taking those extra steps to stand out, like you said, I think are key. And that's really good advice. And I know that's what I'm going to continue to do. So hopefully other people take that advice as well. But I appreciate
you did it already. I mean, you've done it already. Yeah. Right? So you should feel good about yourself, because I know a lot of people who don't. So good for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you sharing all of that with us as well today. And I'm really looking forward to talking some baseball with you. It's my favorite sport. The Red Sox are my favorite team. And I just love watching games and just talking about them in general. So I'm looking forward to a good conversation with you about that. And so far, this season has definitely been surprising in a good way, I think. A lot of people, I don't think, expected the Red Sox to be where they are at and to be performing at the level that they're at. And I had a feeling they were going to have a good season and that they were going to be a pretty good team and that they could be a team that is good enough to compete for a wild card spot. And a lot of people thought I was crazy when I said that.
Why did you feel that? Why did you feel that?
Why did I feel that?
Yeah, because here's the reality is that, like you said, the majority, I think their over-under on wins was like about 80. Nobody saw them in spring training because there was 10 televised games, unless you were listening to me on AM radio. It was you didn't really have a good. I almost saw every spring training game, and I still didn't have a great sense of what they were. But I'm anxious to hear you. Why did you think that they were going to be good?
Yeah, I think that because we knew that they had the hitting and that they were still going to be able to hit really well this year. And with Alex Cora coming back, I just had a good feeling that he was going to be able to motivate them in a way that Alex Cora does that not a lot of other managers are able to do. And that connection and bond he has with his players, I felt like was going to fuel them to be able to have a good season. And by good season, I did not mean by any means that they would be leading the division at the end of June.
Okay, right, so did you take the over-under? Which did you take, over-under on 80 wins? What did you think your win total was?
My win total, I said about 85 to 90, ooh, somewhere in that range.
Well, no, come on. 85. You can't do 85 to 90. 90 is, oh, that's legit, right? 85
well,
is
90 is like the high, like the very high, like.
What number did you say when you were sitting around talking Red Sox with your friends?
Oh, 85.
85. All right.
Yeah, 85 is like I was like, I'm going to take 85 as like my reasonable, this is what I actually think is going to happen number.
Okay. All right. And you see, once again, you were ahead of the curve and you were right. I mean, I thought 80 was low, to be honest with you. I think I might have gone 88. I went 88 and people were like, oh, that's a lot. I mean, well, I did get the set. To me, Gabby, it was very simple. It was these starting pitchers, are they going to be good enough to actually have some semblance of consistency, right? And they, for the most part, they have been. They haven't been lately, which should be a concern for everybody. But I think that was either the what's going to make them go or not going to make them go. Cut and dry, not even close. So yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the biggest concern that I had too, was the pitching and just the uncertainties there that we were going to see with the starters. And I mean, even the bullpen was another question mark too, because the bullpen obviously struggled last year, as we saw. And so bringing some people in and just there were still question marks surrounding the bullpen too. And so far overall, I like what I've seen from the pitching, but there's still some concern there because lately, like you said, the pitching has not been like it was at the beginning of the season. And I think that that's something to be aware of as the trade deadline gets closer and closer. Do they make a move for pitching, or do they just rely on the fact that hopefully Chris Sale is going to be coming back and that they don't need to make a move for another starter?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's. I think that would be a mistake. If you got guys rolling, like if you got Erod and you got Evaldi and you got Pavetta, I'm not even counting Garrett Richards. He's a mess right now.
Yeah,
I don't think he's a mess. Like as a person, he's just a mess right now as a professional pitcher. But if you get those guys rolling, okay, you can, and Martin Perez, then you can say, all right, we're going to semi-rely on Chris Sale. But if you have to say Chris Sale is going to be our ace, that's a mistake. That is a mistake. It takes guys, not necessarily health, but it takes guys a while. When you haven't pitched in a year and a half or whatever it's been, it's going to take them a little bit. And so yeah, I mean, it's a good point by you. And also it's a good point by you about the bullpen. Remember we were arguing who's going to be the closer, so yeah, it's, I mean, some of the stupid stuff that I said in spring training is amazing, it's just, but that's why every year, I don't know if you're like this, but every year we watch spring training and we have these grand opinions based on what we see in spring training, right?
Yeah.
And then like, what were we talking about? What? So it's we try to remind ourselves every year that it doesn't work because we want to be right very, very quickly. At least I do. So
yeah, I agree with that. I think people form a lot of opinions after spring training, and a lot of the times, especially this season, I feel like a lot of that's just proving to not be correct.
Franchi Cordero hit one over the barn and the practice field. It's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we get too much time on our hands. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I like it though. I like what I've seen so far, and I agree with you on the Chris Sale thing. You cannot rely on somebody coming back from Tommy John surgery to be your ace. we don't know what he's going to have right when he comes back. And it would just be very dangerous to have him be the number one guy and then everybody else falling in after that. I mean, I'm concerned about what I've seen from Erod this season. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because of his situation coming off of last year, but he's just been very frustrating to watch this season so far overall. And you already touched on Garrett Richards. I mean, he's kind of a mess right now. And Martin Perez, there's some things I could say about him too.
Yeah,
I think
it's like there you go. I think you summed it up. I mean, forget about the Perez Day T-shirts. It should be Martin Perez ... I don't know. I don't like. I'm with you. I just like. I want to say, hey, Kay, you know what? This is a new Martin Perez. This is a guy you can rely on. And I think I actually wrote. I said Martin Perez, the most reliable pitcher. And then the minute I wrote that, he had 2 horrific starts. So, in your own words, Martin Perez ...
Yes. It does definitely sum up my feelings about Martin Perez right now. It's just you can't rely on him any start, it seems like, because you never know what you're gonna get when he goes into a start now, and that's just frustrating to me because one day he'll pitch really well, like when he pitched really well against the Astros and then pitched again against the Astros and just crumbled. So you just really never know what you're going to get from him.
No, I know. I'm with you. I mean, like, I'm totally with you. I'm not buying my Perez Day T-shirt yet. Nope. No.
Yeah. No, I would wait on that one unless he starts to show more consistency.
Yeah, I still got the Wade Miley, he's the ace T-shirt, so it's good.
Really?
2015.
Oh, wow. I like Nick Pivetta, though, overall. I think he's been pretty good. I think the way that the Red Sox made out in that trade for Pivetta and Seabold looks like it has worked out pretty well for us so far. I mean, especially now with Workman being back, I said, wow, they got somebody back that they got rid of in that trade. And, so far, I think Workman's been a little shaky too, but the Red Sox, as of right now, seem to have.
Who cares? I mean, who cares? Yeah. It's, and I don't know about you, but, and I wrote about this with the Pivetta. Pivetta, obviously, for the most part, has been pretty good.
Yeah.
But people like the way that he pitches, right? People like the way that, like, his whole deal, like how he wears his emotions on his sleeve, and people like that. And I talked to Josh Beckett because Beckett was Pivetta's favorite pitcher growing up on Vancouver Island. And, and so remember, I mean, Beckett was this guy, people, it went sour for him at the end, but people loved like the way Josh Beckett bulldog and everything else. So I talked to him and he was right on. He said, if you have that bulldog mentality, it buys you so much time. It gives you, so much rope where if you go like, if you have a bad stretch, okay, he'll figure it out because we like watching him pitch. I feel like Pivetta is sort of that ilk a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely can see that comparison. I mean, Pivetta, he's the type of pitcher that I feel like I would be pretty okay with having to rely on as like a consistent number 2 or 3 pitcher if they do make a move for somebody else in the number 1 spot and they have Chris Sale back. I would say I would like Pivetta, from what I've seen this season, to probably be that next guy after that. Maybe Eovaldi, but I still feel like Pivetta has been better than Eovaldi right now.
Who's your game 1 starter right now? Playoff start today. Who's Gabby's game 1 starter?
Based on what they have, or if they were to make a move?
No, I'm not saying like. No, I'm not saying that, you're going to go out and someone on another team and trade. Right? For this group.
From this group right now, excluding Chris Sale, I would say Pivetta as my number 1 starter.
No?
I've almost said Eovaldi, but even he has been inconsistent this season too, that I don't know that I would be able to trust him enough as a game 1 starter right now if the playoffs were to start today.
It's a good question, though, and it's not an easy answer, is it? I mean,
no, it's not. It's really not an easy answer right now.
Which is, I mean, therein lies the problem, Gabby. Therein lies the problem, is that this is a good team, but it's a flawed team, and it's not to say that it can't be fixed. It can't be fixed with trades. It can't be fixed with Chris Sale or internal options or whatever. But it is a flawed team, and that question right there is the one that defines that the most.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the pitching is what's going to make or break the rest of the season down the stretch. Because, I mean, obviously the offense is great and they're putting up runs, but you cannot rely on the offense to have to put up 5 to 6 runs every game because the pitcher can't maintain a good start. And it's concerning that the pitchers haven't been going deep into games either. And they have to turn to the bullpen relatively early in what seems like pretty much every game. And that's something that we should be concerned about also, that I think needs to be addressed. But the offense is not going to have it every single night either. So you can't just rely on the pitcher giving up 4 or 5 runs on a consistent basis and then just expecting the offense to make up for that every night. That's not really an approach that you can take and expect to just consistently be successful.
No, and you do. We talk about the game 1 starter. You said about the starters that haven't been going deep. You need a guy, preferably a couple, where you say, I know they're going to go 7 innings, right? I know they're going to go 6, and they don't have that guy right now. They don't, and all the good teams have that guy. You go down the list. I did the exercise the other day. San Francisco at Gosman. You have Dodgers have about 4 of them. The Mets, the Phillies. Obviously the Yankees have Garrett Cole and the Blue Jays have Ryu, and so I mean I can keep going down like all these teams. Houston has Greinke, and you need that guy. I mean, you need that guy where you can say, you know what? Why we're trying to figure it out, why the offense might be slumping. We know that this guy is going to be the guy, and they don't. I mean, they don't have that guy right now. So it is sort of like we talked through it, Gabby, right? And we're picking apart this team, and you're once again a genius for predicting like that they're going to have a good year. But it's like, oh man, there are a lot of things where they have to, it seems like they have to fix, but at the same time, I said that heading into Tuesday's game again in Tampa, and you watch that game, the series opener in Tampa, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So you watch that game and you're like, this is not great baseball. Bobby Dahlbeck struck out 4 times, and Eduardo Rodriguez gave up 5 runs and base running stuff. This isn't good baseball. And then at the end of the day, they win, right? They win.
Yeah. I didn't think they were going to win. I had a bad feeling about how the rest of that game was going to go after Tampa tied it. I said, I just don't have a good feeling about this. And then extra innings comes along, and then they made that mistake in the 10th inning. And then I was like, I still feel like the Rays are going to close this out in the bottom of the 10th. I just did not have a good feeling. Then we kind of got lucky because they made a base running mistake. And I was like, this game is just crazy at this point.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. The last 4 innings, the Rays started with a runner on and nobody out. The last 4 innings, and they came away with nothing. So yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I know your instincts are keen because of your preseason prediction, and also, so I'm going to always follow your instincts. But because you were right, I mean, you had every right to have doubt about that game. I mean, just like probably people had doubt about last night's game or the Garrett Richards game. Evidently now he's throwing a baseball with no seams on it. Who knew? So it's
I mean, people gave me a hard time for that preseason prediction for sure.
Yeah,
people said, I don't know what you're talking about.
We're like, put up the bumper stickers, put the T-shirts. I predicted 85 wins, right?
Yeah, I should.
Yeah, you got to go. When you have that option, and you know what? As I said, if I make a prediction, if I try to predict the Bobby Dahlbeck home run for the 100th time this year, and I tweet it, I think a Bobby Dahlbeck home run's coming up here. You know what I do? I delete it.
Really?
I mean, can't let it sit there. And then I just say, hey, I deleted that, whatever. But
I've done that before, to be honest with you, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you don't want that in your timeline. It's stupid. It's dumb. So
yeah, I've deleted stuff like that before too, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I correctly predicted Bobby Dalbec's spring training grand slam, and since then I think I'm 0 for 50. So
yeah, I've predicted a couple home runs this year, but very, very rarely does that happen. When Arroyo hit that grand slam against the Braves, that was super exciting. I saw a couple people predict that on Twitter. I didn't, but a couple people did, and I was like, "Wow, good for these people."
But you know what? It's like they always do it like later in the game. You know why? Because they're sitting around like, I get nothing else to say. You know what would be funny right now? If I'm just going to predict this is going to happen, and then there you go. But yeah, as someone who is miserably predicted a lot of things, I can tell you that's the root. So
yeah, it's fun predicting things like that though, because then if it actually happens, you feel good about yourself, and you're like, "Wow, I was the one that called this."
Like I said, I mean, you start printing up the T-shirts. It's like you're like, I predicted this. Do that for the show. Say, hey, this is the only show that predicted the Red Sox were going to have a good year.
That's a good idea, actually, though.
Yeah, listen, we predicted the Red Sox were going to have a good year, and you didn't. So there you go.
Sorry. So next time you should just listen to me.
Yeah, listen to us. Yeah, I'm the marketing. I'm a marketing director for your show. There you go.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, I'm so happy overall with what I've seen. Obviously, there's still concerns. Even the leadoff hitting spot has been a concern and frustrating. I don't know why he keeps having Santana hit leadoff. I do not think that works. And even when Kike was doing it, I didn't like Kike hitting leadoff either. I think they need to change that up. I mean, I've always said I would like to see either Arroyo consistently hitting leadoff or maybe Verdugo in that spot. But I do not like what I've seen with Danny Santana hitting there or Kike. Yeah.
So the Kike thing, I get it. Like you thought this guy attacked early fastballs and you like that dynamic, give it a whirl. You didn't have anybody else. Okay, fine. It didn't work out. The Danny Santana thing it makes no sense because my thing, Gabby, is that you don't have a leadoff hitter on this team. Like you said, the closest you probably have is Verdugo. But if you want to keep him in number 2, that's fine. You keep all those guys together. But if you don't have a leadoff hitter and you don't have a guy who's going to get on base a lot, who's going to steal bases and everything else, which you don't, then just take your hottest hitter, the guy that you one up one more time than everybody else that's not named Verdugo, Bogart, Devers, or Martinez, and put him there. And we were on a Zoom call with Cora, and I said, have you entertained the idea of Hunter Renfro leading off without that in mind? And I got the stink eye from him, and he's like, well, who's going to protect Devers? And I get that, right? You got to have someone there. But I think that, you can take an Arroyo, or you can take the next best guy, even a Vasquez, and put him there, and you're going to be okay. I just like the idea of having the guy who's hot getting one more at bat. And that's why the Santana thing makes absolutely no sense. Because he can run a little bit, this is it. He's a terrible hitter. He's the last guy. He's the worst hitter in the lineup, and you're saying we're going to give you one more at bat than everybody else. Makes zero sense to me.
Yeah, I don't get it, and I'm like, how long is this going to go on for? I mean, is he just holding out hope that he's going to start hitting better? Because that doesn't to me seem like it's going to happen.
No, he has a history with him. I mean, I think Cora was very high on Santana coming in. He had the 29 home runs in 2019. And so, all right, we get it. But the player that we've seen is not good. It's not. I mean, he has the couple home runs out of the gate, and it took everyone like 3 weeks to understand hey, wait, Danny Santana doesn't have a hit, because everyone was sort of seduced by those home runs.
Yeah.
Like the first couple of times. And then, the last game, the game that we were talking about, he gets on base in the 11th by this sort of lucky bloop hit. Like, don't start saying, here comes Danny Santana because of that hit,
Yeah.
So yeah,
yeah, I am not at all confident in him as a hitter or that improving. I just think that he just is not good from what we've seen. And I'm not sure if Cora sees something that we don't, or that he just doesn't want to change it up. But
no,
the more that you keep Santana hitting leadoff, the more I'm going to be questioning it on Cora's
he
part.
likes him. And Gabby, here's the things that we're talking about this now. Jarren Duran or Franchi Cordero is going to be up, and Danny Santana isn't going to be on the team. So probably isn't that far down the road. And now it'd be interesting, because if you talk about trade deadline, I do think that they need a left-handed complement at first base to Dahlback, sort of like Steve Pearce was from the right side. Yeah. And I do think they need that. And right now, that's Danny Santana and Marwin Gonzalez, both who can't hit. But, that's what I would say they would need. Good luck finding it, but that's what I think they need.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they go about addressing that and who that person could be. But I think you're right. I think that could really, really just take the offense, especially to the next level. And I think that, I think there's a lot of people right now that look at how this lineup is constructed. And, you have that heart of the lineup, the JD, Xander, Rafael Devers, and Alex Verdugo will add to that group too. Like, those four are the guys that are going to pretty consistently be able to hit. And then Hunter Renfro, I mean, for the most part, I actually kind of like him and what I've seen from him. He was somebody coming in that I wasn't sure of, because I wanted to just see what he could do here. But I think, and obviously he has a great arm. So that's also something that I like about him playing in the outfield. But anyway, so yeah, you have that main group in kind of that middle of the order, but it's that first spot and then the very bottom of the order that are still the concerns. And I think if you can get somebody that is consistently reliable to hit leadoff, I think that could just change a lot of things about how this offense is looked at for the rest of the season.
The best guy in the trade market right now, he plays second base now. So I don't know like how that fits, if you can move him, is Frazier from Pittsburgh. So yeah, he's a leadoff hitter. He's having a great year. They're going to trade him. But he's a second baseman who's played a little outfield, I think. But if you want to prioritize getting a leadoff hitter, that's the guy you go after.
Yeah, I know the Yankees want to go after him too, or at least from what I've seen. So I'm sure there's obviously going to be other teams going after him. But if the Red Sox could somehow pull that off, then I would feel a lot more confident in that spot.
Yeah, but the problem is that you have, Arroyo. You have obviously Hernandez plays second. I mean, you have second. Arroyo is a guy that is your second baseman right now, and not to say the same player as Frazier, because Frazier's having a better year and he can hit leadoff. But it's almost like, it would really be really great if someone could teach him how to play first base, because that's what you need.
Yeah.
But
because then that way you could still pull that off and then just move him there and then just keep Arroyo at second.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, this is what's fun, right? Trade deadline talk. I love it.
I know. And it's crazy that we're already at the point in the season now where we're starting to talk about those things.
Oh, I talk about it in April. I love it. It's great. I threw out there, like, who says no to this trade for Richard Rodriguez from the Pirates like a month ago.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Like, okay, let's talk cheating, it's like exhausting. And, today the All-Star uniforms came out and everyone's killing them for that. So we could talk about that. But, it's like, I mean, yay. It's trade deadline. It's the fail-safe. It's great. People love it.
Yeah. And it's even with the All-Star break. I mean, I'm excited for the All-Star game this year personally, but I think the fact that
Are you an all-star? Are you an all-star game person? So you are?
I like watching it. I don't always vote on it every year though, but
no, I don't.
do like watching it.
I totally suspect you vote. I mean, but you like so. When I talked to Verdugo the other day, I said, "Hey, you know how important it is to make the All-Star team." We talked a little bit about it. Obviously, for him, it's important. But he had said, I said, "Well, did you watch it?" It's like, "Yeah, well, I watched the Home Run Derby a lot." So that's why I'm asking you. You know, it's like, well, do people watch the game or do they watch the Home Run Derby? Is the Home Run Derby still a thing? Is it getting old? Is it, is the game getting old? I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I think it varies. I know a lot of people that don't really watch the All-Star game and they'll only watch the Home Run Derby. I like the All-Star game better than the Home Run Derby. So I'll watch the Home Run Derby kind of here and there, not as intently though, but the All-Star game I'll actually more than likely, usually every year, sit and watch from start to finish. More so than the Home Run Derby, I'd say.
So who makes it from the Red Sox?
I mean, I hope that Xander Bogaerts.
No, not hope. Who makes it? Listen. You've established yourself as a keen prognosticator. So,
oh yeah,
who makes it?
I'm gonna say Xander, JD, and Verdugo. That's it.
No Devers?
I don't know why. I just feel like they might not vote him in.
How about Barnes?
Maybe, but I still feel like people wouldn't pick him as the closer when you have players like Aroldis Chapman, who, but lately I'd say Barnes has been better than Chapman. But I think according to fans, there would be other closers they would pick over Barnes.
How about Garrett Richards? He's going to make it? No?
Yeah, I think he'll get the most votes out of everybody.
Yeah, ironically.
Poor Garrett Richards.
Yeah. I like Garrett Richards. I actually like him as a person. I'm going to talk to him a few times. It's just like, and the thing is, I am sort of blown away, honestly, about how he's he's not dancing around this at all. It's like, yeah, I was cheating, and now I can't cheat, and now I don't know how to pitch. I mean, I don't know what to do.
You can tell he's completely lost without that sticky stuff.
Yeah, it's literally like he's just coming out and saying it. That the thing is that the day, because we had the interviews, JD Martinez was asked about it, and he said, "Well, I think it will help our team because I've been talking to our pitchers and they don't do it." And that same night was the first Garrett Richards game where he's like, I can't do it. I can't do this. I'm like, oh my goodness. Obviously, JD, of the people JD talked to, he did not talk to Garrett Richards. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, it's crazy. But
yeah, I know all the checks that they're doing now and everything.
Yeah,
and
I mean, listen, when
Jacob DeGrom comes off and he's like, I'm just that good at baseball.
Yeah, who knew? I bet no one. Speaking of predictions, I bet no one predicted in late June that umpires would be rubbing their hands through Max Scherzer's hair and asking Sergio Romo to take his pants off.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely not.
No. I think the great game of baseball. You never know what you're gonna see. So
yeah, I know. It's just crazy that Max Scherzer that video of Scherzer was pretty funny.
Oh, it's disgusting. It's like, oh my goodness, the umpires aren't paid enough.
Yeah, I know. That's true.
How can you keep doing that? Like, what are you gonna? Forget. Don't worry about it. We'll reconvene on that subject another time.
Yeah, I know that's because we could talk really in depth on just that subject alone, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Matt Barnes has been surprising as a closer to me too this year because before the season started, I said, well, who is going to be the closer? They don't really have anybody that's an actual closer. So who is it going to be? And then when it came out that Barnes was going to be the closer, I mean, at first I was a little bit concerned about that because I said, I don't based on what we've seen from Matt Barnes, I don't know how reliable he's actually going to be in that spot, but he's been really, really good as the closer. He's somebody I actually feel good about, where if we're winning by, a couple runs and he comes into the game, I actually feel confident the majority of the time that he's going to close out the game. And that's a really good feeling to have.
You're just saying that because he went to UConn.
Maybe I am. Maybe I am a little bit biased towards Matt Barnes because he's a UConn guy. But
and I think Peter Fatsy, the assistant hitting coach, is doing a bang-up job as well. Who's a UConn guy as well. So
just
trying to keep it real. So it's But no, you're right. I mean, Barnes is having a great year. Completely different pitcher than we had seen before, where he would always be nibbling. He would take forever. Now it's here you go. Here's my pitch. Try to hit it. It's like Little League. Here. The big kid who's bigger than everyone else, as far as everyone. Here you go. Try to hit it. So this worked.
Yeah, I know. I'm really happy that he's been reliable in that spot for the most part. And Ottavino lately has been actually better than he was at the beginning of the season. And he still worries me with the walks. If he can just cut down on walks, he'd be very effective, I think. But he still kind of concerns me when he comes into games a lot.
He's been a lot better, and more importantly, he has the most unique tattoos on the team. These the 3 up, 3 down, and what was the other one? 60 feet, 6 inches on each hand. I think at least that's creative. It's not like an eagle on the back or your name on the back or whatever. It's it's like at least it's creative.
Yeah, I know. It's fun to look at.
Yeah. So, I mean, it looked like he forgot something on the grocery list and he wrote it down. But no, those are tattoos, yes.
And saved it permanently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised the Yankees even traded him within the division, but I mean, because they just didn't want to pay that salary anymore. But I think he's helped us. I mean, especially lately as he's been better, I feel better about seeing him come into games now. Matt Andrews, though, I will say I am kind of over him. I mean, he's just struggled so much this season.
Sorry, I can't see without my glasses.
Okay.
He's again a good guy, great first month. Not happening right now. I don't know. I mean, we might get to a point where you have guys like Andrews and Richards and some of these other guys where you have to say, and they're on, these 1-year deals. I know they have options, but 1-year deals, and just say, hey, listen, we appreciate it, but it's not working out, especially when Sale comes back, right? So teams rarely do that because they're so paranoid about depth. They're so paranoid. And, so, I mean, Andrews could be really bad for a long time. They're still going to ride him out for a while.
Yeah, so they have options and everything. I mean, and Tanner Houck, I think when he comes back up too, I'm excited to see how they utilize him when he comes up.
Yeah, I mean, he's a huge part of the equation, no question. And he looked really good. I saw him pitch in Worcester the other day. He looked really, really good. So they need him. They don't have a lot of depth, like you said. So it's such a weird team. It is such here it is in synopsis. It is 2021 Red Sox, a really weird team. They're weird, good, I guess. And so that makes your prediction even more powerful. Congratulations.
Thank you. I think maybe the team saw my prediction and when they said, this girl believes in us, so let's prove to her that we can win.
They admitted no one thought we could do it. No one they thought we could do it. ... except for Gabby.
Yeah, I know. They need to see my my Twitter post from a while back during spring training. When
honestly, guess what you gotta say? You gotta say, say the under your logo said the only person that predicted the Red Sox would be good. Now, who knows if it's true, but if you say it must be true. It's like when I do the pregame show every single day, I say, here comes the best 3 minutes of your day. Now, is it? I don't know, but I said it, so it must be true. So there you go. Mark 101.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, they can call me the Red Sox guru or something like
Yeah,
that.
there you go.
That's my new nickname.
I like it. I like it. But I am going to say my computer battery is going to die any second. So
yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show and talking some Red Sox with me. I appreciate you taking time out of your day, and this was fun. I enjoyed it.
Oh, of course. Anytime. We'll reconvene, like you said. And I will make sure that the show gets a shout out. We have 2 live BP baseball shows on the weekend on WEEI with Steve Peralt. And so I will make sure that we give the show a shout out some point this weekend. So.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I had Steve on the show too once. So
yes.
I appreciate you giving it a shout out.
You taught him how to say Nathan Eovaldi's last name. If nothing else in my world, I did that. So.
That's funny.
But yes. Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you everybody for tuning in to Boston Balling. I always appreciate the constant support. Hope everyone has a great rest of the week and weekend, and I'll talk to you all next time. Have a good one.